I'm going to quickly define each eating disorder I'm going to talk about today. Anorexia is starving yourself or working out to the breaking point. Both of those symptoms can be mixed, by the way. There's bulimia, which is like binge eating and then throwing up your food, or just throwing up your food. And then there's binge eating disorder, where like you eat and you can't stop. I had anorexia and bulimia at the same time. My parents only know about the bulimia thing, but I did eventually stop doing both. Now I struggle with binge eating disorder, but I'm also getting through that. People think that if you just give them food, lock them out of the bathroom for an hour, limit how much food they get, that won't stop anything. If you're bulimic, you need a doctor, a dentist, a nutritionist. Well, all of them need nutritionists, because at that point, you no longer know what's healthy and what's not. At that point, people with eating disorders struggle to find the real definition of healthy. And then the bulimics, that's the one I'm going to talk about the most today, because that's not the most common one. Anorexia is actually the most common, but that's the one I know the most about. But like bulimia, people, and it's not just throwing up your food. People also can like take a bunch of X-Lax and stuff, but the most common one is actually throwing up your food, surprisingly. But I struggled with that for a while, 4 months exactly. So I didn't have a whole lot of, it wasn't as long as some people, but it's still something to struggle with. And it's considered a mental illness for a reason. It's not somebody thinking, it's not just a thing, well, I'm going to do this. No, it becomes an obsession. It becomes an addiction. It became so bad that whenever I was getting help, I eventually got to the point where I became sick. Like, if I ate, I became sick. I needed to throw up because my body had been trained and accustomed to that I needed to throw up at that point. Like, I became nauseous. Not even by sticking something down my throat at that point, like most people do. I had trained my body to do that. Anorexia is, you feel so hungry at first, you feel starving, but then eventually the hunger pangs become part of you, and like they eventually they stay there, but you don't feel them. They're not as harsh. As for binge eating, you don't even realize you're doing it most of the time. You don't. The hardest part of getting help with all of these is admitting that you have it, because a lot of people are in denial about it. And the stigmas based off of all of these conditions are horrifying. Some people actually recommend it. It's not something. Can you shut? Sorry about that. I'm currently at school, actually, in the practice rooms. But anyway, so that is all I have to say on eating disorders. If you have one. Okay, if one more person opens that door. Anyway, so that's all I have to say on eating disorders. Just if you have one, there are so many hotlines and so many ways to get help. I don't want to see anyone struggle the way I did, because while I didn't have it for very long, I had apparently one of the worst cases of it. And then it turned out I was gaining weight rapidly and not losing it because I have a hormonal imbalance. I wasn't even losing weight by doing that. I wasn't losing weight by dieting, working out. Nothing worked. Just there are ways to get help. So just please get help.